Hey everybody, welcome to day 19. We're plugging away here. We're cranking through week 3. We are continuing on the path of the drift and the shift model. And if you remember from the beginning, when you first get triggered by something and you start to tell yourself a story and the feelings come up, what ends up happening is we go into the dark. And the dark is a scary place because that's where we all of those horrible feelings start coming up and we start telling ourselves the stories in our head. And so the tool that we use when we're in the dark is release the rage. Release the rage releases those feelings and gets them out in the open so that we can start to examine them. Okay? So the continuation of the stack, after the dark, we go into the drift. And we examined the drift yesterday and the feelings that you feel as you're going through the drift. But today we're going to shift and we're going to use the drift and we're going to use this tool called Power Focus inside of the drift. Power Focus is the tool, just like like Release the Rage is the tool in the dark. Power Focus is the tool in the drift that helps us to stop drifting and shift to focus on something that creates power in our life, or something that we want. And so we go through this series of questions. The first question that we ask ourselves is, what is the situation that triggered you? What happened? What are the specific details? What's the truth? Just the facts. Get clear about the facts. The second question we ask is, what is the story that's being created by that trigger? You know, if we can't get clear about the facts of what actually happened, we're not going to get clear about the story. We've got to stop and examine, what is the story that I'm telling myself? Is it that I'm not worthy, that this isn't going to happen for me, that I'm never going to be fill in the blank? What is the actual story that's created by the trigger? The next question is that story true? Now this is where we begin to open up space, to clear some space in our head, to begin to deal with the actual trigger itself, to stop the drift in the dark by releasing the rage, by stopping and questioning the story that we're telling ourselves, so that we can create something positive out of this situation. And so the next question is simple, is that story true? And are you 100% positive that the story is true? If you're not 100% positive that the story is true, that creates enough space for us to examine it a little bit farther. And so the next question that comes up is, what are the feelings that are coming up when you tell yourself that story? And we want to make a list of all the feelings that we're feeling. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm pissed off, I'm insecure, I'm feeling inadequate. Whatever the feelings are, we got to get them all out and list them. And then the next step is the action step. What specific thoughts or desired actions arise from those feelings? From those feelings. When I start to tell myself the story and I start to feel all those feelings, what is it that I want to do? Do I want to attack? Do I want to pull back and isolate? Do I want to sedate? Do I want to suppress? What is the deal? What's going on? What are the specific actions that are arising from those feelings? And then we get to shift yet again. We've created a little bit of space. We're starting to see things from a different perspective. And it allows us to go inward and say, what is it that I truly want from this situation? What do I want for me? It also allows us to say, okay, if this is what I truly want, will the story that I'm telling myself actually give me what I want? And sometimes it may, sometimes it may not. 99.9% of the time, the story that you're telling yourself won't get you what you ultimately want. Because what we ultimately want is growth and expansion. And the stories that we create in our head are limiting beliefs. The next question we want to ask ourselves is, what do we want for them, for the other person, the person that triggered us, the circumstance that triggered us, the thought or the feeling that triggered us? What do we want for both of us? What do you ultimately want out of this scenario? And then the last question is, what might be possible for you if the situation that you're currently telling yourself was false? What if it wasn't true? What might be possible for you? And so your assignment is the same as always. Number one is to teach this. I want you to actually go back through this video and learn these questions, write down these questions, go out and find someone that's been triggered. Maybe it's a family member, your spouse, your kids, maybe it's a colleague at work. But start to dissect the stories that they're telling themselves and start asking those questions. Is the story true? What are the facts of the situation? What caused the trigger in the first place? What are the feelings that you're feeling? What's the story that's being created? Is the story even true? What would be possible for you if the story was not true? And so you're going to teach this to someone. The second part is you're going to actually do this yourself. You're going to write down these questions, these 11 questions in a series, and you're going to start answering them for yourself. Pick a specific trigger, something that happened today. What is the story that you're telling yourself? What are the feelings that are coming up as you tell yourself that story? Is the story ultimately going to get you what you want? Do you even know what you want? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for the other person? And is that story going to lead you or guide you to get what you want? And if it's not, then what if the story was not true? What if it was actually false? What might be possible for you? What are the possibilities for you if that story were false? All right, that's it for me today. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to be diving even deeper